In my adolescence and teens, my main experience with the ocean was going to Zuma or Point Dume, which is a beach east of Malibu here in Southern California. And you try to body surf or boogie board if the sandbars permitted. And it was always a fun time to throw a ball around, read, eat all the snacks and sandwiches I could stuff into my cooler, and of course sleep under a trusty sunbrella. And during college, I saved a little bit of money to go with a guy who would pack a few other adventure seekers and several surfboards into his Piper Cherokee plane for a 3-day tour in some secret surf spots down in Baja, California. It included a landing on a 1,200 foot long airstrip in bush country somewhere, loading up into a beater of a 4x4 pickup truck and navigating the dunes to this makeshift camp where you pitched in with cleaning and cooking, and you would paddle until your arms fell off. And it was, only 3 days time, but you were there to do one thing, which was surf. And it was one of the more awesome experiences in my life, and I don't have a good reason as to why I didn't continue to do it. And after college, I worked and I got married, and I still make the occasional visit to Point Dume with kids in tow now. And as I built my consulting practice, I met more people and became more familiar with boating, meaning getting on someone's yacht and, entertaining clients and prospects. And one of my closest friends is one of those climb the highest mountain types who's been to all the peaks around the world and loves to go sailing around, the San Francisco Bay and in Australia and Finland and lots of wonderful places around the world. And after selling a boat that he had, he moved to Mexico to build a property, and he bought this Chris Craft Launch 28, which is a runabout type boat. Now this is an elegant boat. This is not unlike a Bentley Silver Spur if you're into cars. This is not some gargantuan thing you hear about some billionaire who's placed this magnificent order that has to have its own marina to be able to park it. It's handsomely sculpted with teak trim and nuanced detail in the stitching of the seats, and with some very powerfully understated Volvo engines that let you know they have no problem putting power out on the water when you need it. And I had the chance to visit him and his wife and take out the boat after a recent repair. This meant testing, and we thought we had a pretty calm day, but as we walked to the marina, the wind was kind of picking up. And now, when you're on a boat and you're traveling down sea, which means that the waves are behind you, it's pretty nice and comfortable. If you're going up sea, which means against the waves, or side sea as the name suggests, it can get pretty rough. Now, that day it really did. As we were testing and heading to the planned locations that we had, the water is splashing everyone, my camera gear is getting wet, but the boat is doing its thing. Now, where you sit on the Chris Craft, it's pretty low. You're very close to the water level. And so you're getting a very intimate look at the water and it behaves and how it behaves in different settings. And as soon as we came out of this cove, we were dashing across the shoreline and we were bouncing around and navigating some pretty treacherous rollers. And once we began to turn into this other area, it was calm like the sounds of nature. Now, when we got to our destination and we were having lunch, I couldn't help but think about how much those rollers commanded my respect. They were powerful and unpredictable. And this happened the day that I was on the boat. The bond market had taken a beating. For a guy who works in finance like me, you pay attention, especially with all this talk about inflation and the pending recession. And bonds aren't as sexy as stocks, but they truly make the world go round. And with this roller experience, I thought about how our preparedness makes us flexible and strategic. I wasn't worried that I was going to die. There were times that we punched it, and there were times that we slowed down to get in front of or behind a wave. We had an experienced group on board, minus my son, who toughed it out. He showed something even more important, which was resilience. And he even asked questions to make sure he didn't, need to be worrying about falling off the boat. So I was very happy with him. So, what does my fancy boat story have to do with anything? Well, what are you doing to prepare for what's coming? And I'm talking about the recession, about this inflationary environment that we're in. Are you preparing with self-discipline? Are you creating good habits that if you have to batten down the hatches to preserve your business and your personal assets? Are you having that internal dialogue about strategic steps that you can take this week or this month or this quarter or even this year? What are you doing to remain flexible so that you're not pinned into a corner and you limit your options and lose your advantage? And lastly, this is not a new thing. This happened in 1979. In 1994, in 2007, and here we are. So what can you do different? And that's the great thing about exit planning. It's not just about the end. It's about how you get there. It's about your personal, business, and financial goals and making sure they stay intact. So click on the link or the QR code and set up a time today. We can help you get there with the right strategy that ensures you reward yourself after years of hard work.